This podcast is a 98 Studios production.
Today's the day, baby.
Today's the day.
Today's the day.
Today's the motherfucking day.
Today is the day.
Today's the day.
Today is the day.
Today's the day.
What up, everybody? Welcome back to Today's the Day with Mr. Kristian Calibuso, part 2.
Let's go.
No, man, we just went through, I got to learn your story a little bit, get to know you a little bit better in depth. I think that's amazing. And I think that the simplicity of relating to people that seem to be like on a different level is so valuable and has been valuable to me. So I appreciate you sharing stories and explaining where you came from. And everything. And now this is kind of the fun part for me. This is more of like just an jam-packed little gold nugget session of info and understanding why you do things the way you do, where you learn the lessons, what the lessons mean, so on and so forth. So, I mean, breaking into it, I think the easiest thing to understand about you, if anyone follows you on Instagram, watches your stories, looks at your reels or anything, you are by far one of the most, and one of the things I look up to you like the most in what you are. You're one of the most disciplined people ever.
Thank you.
And on the last episode, you gave the definition of discipline. It's following through with actions that you make the decision for long after the feelings and the emotions that you made those decisions leaves.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you're all excited, it's super easy to say, I'm going to start going to the gym every day or whatever it is. And when you just get recruited, it's really easy to be like, I'm going to go be the top rep. And then when you're month 3 in the summer getting your face kicked in, or your alarm goes off at 4 a.m. and you went to bed at 2:30 because you unforeseen circumstances and you want to click snooze, very, very different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like discipline is the ladder where you go and you do it regardless, long after the emotions left.
100%. My
question for you on it is, first off, what are some of your disciplines? Because I think that's going to go give a lot of perspective for people that are like, they may not know what your disciplines are. And then where did you gain that? Was it in childhood? Was it at some point in your career? Was there a pivotal moment that switched? Or is it something you just like, no, dude, that's just how I work?
Yeah. Well, I'll just kind of like put it in the subject of like, own your morning. Like my morning is mine. Like no one will, it doesn't matter what time I go to bed. It doesn't matter what happened the night before. It doesn't matter what the situation is. When I wake up every day between 3:45 to 4:15, I don't set an alarm unless I'm on a different time zone because my body just doesn't wake up. But if I'm on Central Time Zone, which is because I live in Dallas, my body will wake up between 3:45 to 4:15. Right? I am extremely disciplined about my morning because I believe it's the only constant you have in your day. It's the only thing you have. Right? Before 8 a.m. The world is yours. After that, we're working. Mm-hmm. We are servants of our people. We're servants of our family. We're servants of our kids. We have things to go do that are outside of our control. But however, in the morning, that's mine. So the disciplined things I do up between 3:45, 4:15. I'm out the door. If I'm in Flower Mound, which is where I live, I'm out the door by 4:47. I'm at the gym by 5. First lifts at 5 o'clock. I'm extremely rudimentary about how I do it, what I do it, and how I train. My body, like this is all I got, man. So I'm very particular about how I did that, or how I do that. Years ago, I used to bodybuild, so I'm very particular about what I eat, how I eat, when I eat. I went through a 3-year period of not eating anything outside of a Tupperware dish. Mm-hmm. Every single meal was prepped for 3 years, going from eating 1,100 calories all the way up to 5,500 calories, from 164 pounds to 213 pounds at both weights, solely because I was committed to doing what I said I would do. Now, here's the thing. When you do those type of things, it just removes the thought or the emotion out of the current situation. Mm-hmm. Right? I don't think about it anymore. When you only have a set amount of things that you're going to do, for example, waking up between 3:45 and 4:15, guess what you don't do? You don't wake up at 4:30. Yeah. You don't wake up at 5 o'clock. When you negotiate with yourself enough, you leave you leave space in your brain to make a different decision, right? Those that don't go to the gym on a consistent basis, whatever. Okay, I get it. You won't find me at the gym other than at 5 a.m. Mm-hmm. It's funny. Last night I was, getting ready for the trip and packing my bag, and my flight left at 5:25 this morning.
Yeah. So
I had 2 options. Either I work out when I get here, or I work out before. So I woke up at 3:15.
Oh, gosh. Jesus.
First lift was at 4 a.m. Okay. Ended at 4:40, got to the gym, got to the airport by 5, got on my flight before 5:10, which is when the cutoff was. But you look at it like that and you say, when you decide that you're going to do something, such as going to the gym, you don't negotiate. You just do it. You find a way to make it happen. Mm-hmm. Even if it's, the time before you committed to, I'm still going to make it happen. So that's extremely important to me. Personal development is extremely important to me. So when I get home, I'm always listening to a podcast, an Audible, a YouTube short, something of that sort that's going to fuel my brain, right? I need to be able to pump into myself. I'm a Christian, so I've been diving into the Word. Like that's something that's been extremely important to me, and that's something that you can kind of fall out of, right? So
Yeah.
but that's something that I've done the best I can to make sure that I'm talking to God every single morning, and that's been like really important in my life. So when we talk about the things that I'm most disciplined in, those are the things that I really own my morning with.
Yeah.
I spend time with my children in the morning, and I want to make sure that I'm just present with them, right? So those are some of the non-negotiables that I deal with, which that kind of encapsulate who I am. Like one of my key principles is know your non-negotiables. Like what things are you not going to negotiate? For example, if I bagel, I'm going out. I'm going to go out an hour before. I knock when it rains. I'm always going to have integrity. I'm always going to do what's right. Like those are the things. So disciplines, a synonym for that would be non-negotiables. I'm just not going to negotiate these few things.
Yeah.
I'm not going out on a Sunday night. I have work the next morning.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going out on a Wednesday night. I'm going to be in bed by this time. Like these are the things that you can put in place to make sure that you're going to reach the success that you want.
Yeah.
Disagree to these things when you're in a clear state of mind. Put them down on paper and never negotiate from them.
Yeah, I love that. And so, dude, you unpacked a few things in there. The first one that you unpacked is like when your alarm's going off, you don't need to ask, "Oh, am I going to snooze it or am I going to wake up?" It's the decision. The decision has already been made, and that's a principle that I didn't learn until a few years into my career. Decision fatigue is real, and fatigue will make a coward out of anyone. Right. And people don't think about that, right? If you have to go and consistently decide, like to apply it to a lot of people that listen, like our job or any job, if you have to decide every 30 minutes whether you're going to knock another door, or even every morning whether you're going to get up and go attack the day or just go through the motions, or you have to decide every year if you want to keep doing what you're doing, or you have to go and decide, that will deteriorate your confidence, your energy, everything. And the decision fatigue will make a coward out of everyone.
Wow.
And when you're a coward, then the decision you end up making is typically one you wouldn't be proud of.
Yeah. Interesting.
Right? When you're fatigued because you have to ask yourself every morning whether or not you're going to wake up at 5:30, you're going to make a very coward-like decision.
Wow. Yeah. I've never heard of it that way. I look at it as like analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
Like you're just thinking about something way too long and then you're using brain power that you don't need to do. For example, I post a reel every single day. I've been doing it for the past almost 15 months now. And the days that I don't want to do, I'm like, yeah, there's just no way. I'm just not skipping this, right?
Yeah.
As soon as I wake up, the first thing I do is I post a quote. Like I'm very particular about those things because back to the thing of decision fatigue or analysis paralysis, I don't want to think about the things that I'm going to do. Like I want to put as much as my life as I can on autopilot. So I have to when it is time to make a big decision, my brain power is ready to go and ready to make really good decisions.
Yeah. And you're also, and not allowing yourself to become fatigued means you're making decisions that you're going to be proud of. And then when it's time to actually go and analyze a decision, you can analyze it with a clear thought in a confident state where you're like, bro, I kill shit. Like I do everything I say 100%. I'm going to do. And I love that. And dude, you're a walking example of the quote that how you do something is how you do everything, which is super, super, super important. And I love it. And again, when I said you're one of the people that since starting to work with you, you become someone I look up to a lot. That's one of the reasons why, is because you're an intense mother effer, dude. And I mean that in the biggest compliment, because you're intense in the way that you do everything, which is amazing, right? I
appreciate that. Thank you.
And being disciplined in one thing is going to only help you be disciplined in other things. And handling things from a place of like a badass that owns his morning, you're going to go and handle the next problem in the same state, rather than being the guy who goes and clicks snooze, who maybe doesn't make his bed, who doesn't go to the gym when he's not feeling it, or because he had a late night, he can't go to the gym in the morning. And dude, I've been guilty of being both, honestly. And the difference in how you feel and carry yourself is where I think the real value is.
Yeah.
Maybe you go get some traction because you post real. That's not the benefit, though, in my opinion. In my opinion, the benefit is, homie, how you do something is how you do everything. And if you say you're going to do something, you do it. You'll walk around different than someone who doesn't, and no one else knows that shit other than you.
You almost like change your neural pathways, and like if you think about life as a decision tree, like everything's a decision, right? For example, you walk past a trash can. Am I going to take it out? Yes or no? Okay. If I say no, when are you going to take it out? Right. Simple things as like every time I pass a full trash can at my house, I take it out. Like I always will do that. Right. However, and I'll share this with you. This is so funny. I actually think I'm a naturally lazy person, but I create systems and processes that don't allow me to do that.
Got it.
And I was talking this with someone, and they're like, no, you're not, dude. You wake up at this time. I'm like, you think I want to wake up at that time every day? No, I just go. I just do it.
Mhm.
Because if I let my mind like start to seep in, I'll convince myself elsewise. I'll do it.
Mhm.
There's been so many times where I wake up and it's a leg day and I'm like, I'm not doing legs today. There's no way. And for like the 13 minutes on the way to the gym, I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Shit, I'm doing it. Right? Like it
Yeah.
just happens,
You
right?
have
So
to.
the thoughts that you have in your mind, like those that are out there that are trying to make disciplined habits, right? Or making the decisions. There's so many decisions we make in a day. If you're trying to make those decisions, don't let it seep in. Like make it happen, right?
Yeah.
Like and when it is seeping in, know that that's not the current decision that you have to make.
Yeah.
Right? Like sit into it for a second. Talk to yourself, right? Positive thoughts, working through those things because the negativity will seep in, right?
Mhm.
Like for example, going to the gym, I'm not doing it. Knowing that, hey, by the time I get there, I will get my mind ready to go get it done.
Mhm.
How many times are we driving out to area thinking like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be tough. Had a bad day yesterday. This is hard. It's raining. You're talking through all these things, and then hey, 5 minutes before out, just like I got here, 5 minutes before out, put on the song that wanted to get me in the mood to get rocking and rolling.
Mhm.
Boom, get yourself in that mindset.
Mhm.
So it doesn't mean that you can't be in these. I call them loser thoughts. Loser thoughts meaning like trying to change your mind on different things.
Yeah.
You can sit through those, right? But get out of them as quickly as you possibly can. I share the sentiment. I don't have bad days. I have bad moments. As soon as I can identify that I'm not in the right headspace, that will change immediately and it will never last an entire day. Same thing with your decision making.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, dude, two more things you're explaining as you explain it, which I think is absolute gold to sort of break them down. Like, and explaining neural pathways, I think is very, very valuable because I'm a big Tony Robbins fan. I love going to Tony Robbins events. And the last event I went to, he talked about something that's explaining exactly what you're talking about. Our brains, however many millions years old they are, right? They aren't designed or trained to go and help you thrive. Our brain is not at all. Our brains are designed with one sole purpose and one northern star that guides us to survive. Period. That is what it's designed for. That computer in your head, that is what it is computing at all times. Unfortunately, or fortunately, however you view it, our life is very easy to survive.
Yes.
We don't have to really do shit to survive. You can go clock in mindlessly somewhere. You can play video games the rest of the day. You can eat trash and you'll survive, right? There's no imminent like danger. Like there's no saber-toothed tiger that's going to attack you if you don't do something. So when you're explaining creating systems that don't allow your mind to like decide, it's because your mind is not going to decide to always hard. There might be some point where there's a chemical in your brain that has you overstimulated, you're excited, so you're going to do it. Great. That's not always going to be there. But if systems are there, it doesn't matter where your brain's at or what your brain's doing. You have to follow them. You're going to follow them. And it's setting standards. It's an identity. It's a lot of different things like encapsulated to go and have the discipline at the level that you have it, which is super, super cool.
It's like creating a rule book for yourself, right?
Yeah.
Here, if this, then that. Right. And when you put yourself in those situations, when you come up to them, you already know the answer. I've already been in this situation. I know how it feels. This is what I'm going to do when this happens. Right now, there's going to be times where new experiences come. You reanalyze, you reassess, you re-strategize, and you put that same exact strategy in place for when the situation happens again.
Exactly. And so part of what you just said is my favorite thing ever. And I'll tell you how the one-liner I define it, and my people have heard it a million times. When you're like, dude, I don't have bad days, I have bad moments, right? That's inevitable. And some people don't understand it's inevitable. So they might be on a hot streak for 3 weeks and they have a down moment. And then they just tear themselves apart and they dig a massive hole and they sit in it. And that's like, or they just keep digging deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And the first rule of when you're in a hole is stop digging, period. Right? So you're going to go have those moments, right? And the way that I view it, or the way I've always viewed it, is like when I'm in that we use a little bit more vulgar terms, like when my bitch brain is on, right? Like all my guys know this. When my bitch brain is on, like I call my dog, and what that means is like when I call my dog, it comes, and like that's like a joke, and we laugh about it, but it's like I know for a fact if I'm sitting across from someone and we've both been through the same thing and we're both equally exhausted, and the finish line's right there, I'll beat you there.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I might be feeling the exact same as you, but I can call my dog like that. And when I call my dog, it comes. And when my dog's there, I win.
Well, I like that.
Does that make sense?
I like that.
And all that is, it's exactly what you're noticing. I notice that I'm in one of those moments. I notice that I'm freaking like crawling rather than running.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, I don't have a lack of energy. I have a lack of the right state, and I can control my state. What that really means when I call my dog, it comes, it means I am aware of my state. I know the value of my state, and I can control my state.
Interesting.
Right. And I think that was one of the most like breakthrough things I ever learned. I learned that in 2019, very early in my career. And I've said that ever since. And there's a few people that I was at Tony Robbins with when we thought of that, or I don't even remember if he said that, but when I call my dog, it comes.
I use that.
It's my favorite, bro.
Yeah.
And it's like, my guys know when I say that, it's like, no, it's time to nut up. Like, it doesn't matter if every single thing has gone wrong. It doesn't matter if you're on a month-long, like, streak of getting your ass kicked, even things out of your control. Everything's going wrong. Call your dog.
I love that, because when I think about that, I think about the saying of just do the next right thing, right? Because we get in situations, it just happens, right? And you think about it, and either you sit and do it, or you do what the next right thing is. Like, you have an opportunity to pivot, right? You don't have to sit in that. Go do the next right thing. When I call my dog, it comes. I love that. I'm gonna use that.
Yeah, no, dude, it's that's like one of my favorite, and you nailed it right on the head, which I love. So discipline. Then my question for you is, now I understand you are disciplined, right? I understand that. I also understand how maybe you're disciplined. Now my question is like, why? Devil's advocate to everything you're saying is like, dude, sounds pretty miserable to eat out of a Tupperware for 3 years straight.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty miserable to not sleep in. Sounds pretty miserable to do all of these things.
Yeah.
Right. So what the hell is the point? Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, a couple of things, right? It goes back to my childhood. Remember, a military kid. Dude, if my shoes weren't straightened in front of where the shoes go, I got in trouble. If the garbage wasn't taken out by the right time, I got in trouble. I got grounded. If my bed wasn't made at a certain time, I got in trouble. If things weren't in place at the right time, I got in trouble. So I think it goes back to childhood, right? Like, just upbringing, military family. I love my father for that. I love my stepdad for that. Give me that discipline of like, just, dude, make sure everything's in order. This better be perfect. All the way up to, collegiate athletics, where look good, feel good, play good, that whole thing. Like, go into the locker room, look at someone's locker. You'll tell who the star is. Their locker's perfect. Their jersey's hung up, their cleats are clean. Like, I was just that guy. Things were perfect. I like that. There's a lot of emotions to feel as if when you're in your current situation selling, right? Like, you can do this, you can go up, you can go down. And I really encapsulate into this, ride the middle wave. Ride the middle wave, make the daily decisions, and stay disciplined to your approach of what's going to bring you success, right? I didn't make up door to door. I didn't make up the pitch. In fact, I learned it from someone else. I duplicated it. I replicated it. I train on it, and I stick within that strategy. So when I think about why am I so disciplined, that's what's brought me to success. That's what's put me in my current situation today, good or bad, whoever's looking at it, doesn't matter. This is what has got me to my place right now of consistently agreeing to the things I would do long after the feeling is gone. So I don't think there's another way.
Yeah.
Right. I couldn't live a laissez-faire life with do what you want, live how you please, do what you want in the mornings. I can't live in that state of mind. Even to the day when I become retired, like my days will be extremely like regimented, and regimented, which leads to discipline, because that's what leads to the most fulfillment for me. I want consistency. There's too much variable in life, right? And I train on this a lot. Like, the morning's important because when the day starts, there's so much variable.
Yeah.
You have customers, you have people, you have managers, you have leaders, people barking down your throat for whatever which reason. But the things can be consistent are the daily disciplines that I decide to go do. And that's the constant. And that's what gives me like almost like this guiding principle of how I'm going to live my life, because this doesn't change.
Yeah. I love that, actually. And I've read a million books on habits, on consistency, on discipline, on all of that. And I've never actually looked at it or heard it looked at that way, where it's like, dude, your morning is all you own. And there is something so valuable when you wake up before the sun, right? And you're out, the world is almost dead. And that gives you the right to be with yourself. That gives you the right to go and handle your shit, and you own it, right?
100%.
And it doesn't matter how good you think you are. If you try and own your evening or your midday or your late morning, the world's already going. And you might own it, kind of, but there are things that are going to intrude, and the next thing you know, you're getting blown up. But if you're up at 5:30, right? The mornings that I wake up and I go do either jujitsu or whatever I do in the morning early enough, I don't even want to. It's just my only option, right? Systems that are in place in my brain can't even think I have to. If I want to go to jujitsu, I got to go at this time. Right? It's the only time they have a class. And nothing, dude, I'm not getting texts. I'm not getting calls. I don't have anything to respond to. I have the right and like the freedom to go and apply myself to whatever it is I'm doing that I think. And I think you just answered my question of why be disciplined. It's because you're giving yourself freedom.
Yeah.
Right. When you're disciplined, you're giving yourself freedom to actually go and get the fulfillment out of the things that you want to, because you can go be present rather than always scrambled, being halfway somewhere, halfway someplace else, and never really being present.
Absolutely.
Right. And I think fulfillment only comes when you can be where your feet are to a certain extent.
100%. Now there's a tough conundrum, right? Because being so disciplined, sometimes you can be disciplined doing the wrong thing. Right.
Explain
so I would
what you
also
mean by
say,
that.
thanks. So sometimes like maybe it's hey, I've been knocking doors like this, And I'm like, I'm going to do it because this is what was told to me. However, maybe your manager's like, hey, dude, you have to pivot. And you're like, well, this is what was told me. I'm going to keep doing this.
Mhm.
You have to be open-minded and coachable to be able to understand and see, is that disciplined action that you're doing leading the results that you want,
Mhm.
right? You ask, why am I disciplined? Because it leads to the results that I want. If it's not leading the results that you want, you may be doing something so disciplined, but it's not necessarily fruitful to your current situation. Right?
Mm.
There's so many guys in the door-to-door space who do bodybuilding and this, and they run marathons. But it's like, hey, dude, you're not doors for 12 hours a day. You need to change your approach because what the disciplined action that you're doing is really deprivating the rest of your day.
Yeah.
So there are things that people are doing right now that believe it's adding their situation or putting them in a better state of mind or whatever it may be. But be humble enough to understand that may not be conducive to your current situation or the job that you're doing.
Bro, so that's amazing. I actually love that. I didn't learn that until my third year being a leader. My first 3 years being a leader was like, homie, you should be studying 2 hours a day. You should be staying up late studying, wake up early, eat, blah, 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 blah. Like so like detail oriented to the
Sure.
point that guys were just spent. They're
Yeah.
like, bro, by the time they get on the doors, they're like, holy shit, I'm done.
Yeah.
And now it's like, dude, like I'm like, homie, do what you got to do it. Like if you need to spend an hour at night playing video games to just decompress, I don't, because I hate it.
Yeah.
But like if that actually helps you go, like just do
What
it.
you got to do.
Yeah, do what you
Yeah.
got to do. And I think something you said is also really important that I would add to. You have to be coachable enough to take like, hey, if you're disciplined in this certain thing and it's not working, be coachable enough. I would elaborate on that and be intuitive enough to do it without being coached.
There you go.
If you're doing something that is just relentlessly not working, go like explore.
Absolutely.
Like people have more successful intuition than they think they do. And one
It's
thing,
powerful.
yeah, one of my early leaders, Jeff Mendez, he was big on that. Like people would call him and he would like reiterate their question and see their answer. And usually people have the answer to their own question. They're just not intuitive enough to go and explore that. And it's like, dude, if you've been trained in sales for a year, you know the steps of a sale. You know you need to go create a problem. You know you need to go give a solution. You know you need to create urgency. You know you need to remove buying pressure.
Yeah.
You know you need to close, right? And if you have this pitch we've given you where maybe there's a piece that you missed or we missed, and you're like, dude, like there's no urgency, right? And you can identify that. Okay, go add some urgency. Like
Absolutely.
go explore a little bit intuitively if there are disciplines in your life that aren't working. And if you're like, bro, when I get out there, I'm spent. Okay, maybe don't run a half marathon 3 times a week, right? Like, I don't know, but like be intuitive enough that I don't have to go dissect your entire everything to give you advice because your advice is just as good as mine.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the only thing I'd add to that. And I love that. I think it's amazing. So discipline, dude, I love that. I mean, we just spent 20 minutes talking about discipline, and I think it's valuable enough to spend that time and dissect it and understand it at a deeper level, not a surface level. That being said, it's like you have not only gone and done, and I love our job. I actually want to add this in here. I love our job, and I've said this before because I think door-to-door is a parallel to life. And the reason I think that is because door-to-door is extremely difficult and uncomfortable, and good things in life come from things that are extremely difficult and uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
And there's laws and all of those that apply regardless if you're in door-to-door or you're starting a business or whatever you're doing. So my question for you, because you have gone and found success at a very high level at a very young age, and success is open to interpretation, but the way that a lot of the world views it, you've gone and achieved amazing things, and you've also trained people who have done the same. So you've duplicated it. My question is like, what does it take? What does it really take to go and do things at a really high level or at whatever level people want to do it? Because not everyone's going to want to do what you did, but there are a lot of people that do want to do what you did.
Yeah.
What does it take in your experience? What does it take?
Let's break that down into like very
Specific,
elementary
stuff,
right? Attitude, aptitude, work ethic, right?
Okay.
And that's just the rep level, right? I'll get into leaders here in a second, but you think about it, like in this job, it's very simple. It's so simple, right? It's hard on the mind, but very simple task what we're doing. We're doing a pitch. That's it. You're doing a pitch. You're acting the entire time. We're professional actors. That's what we do, right? Attitude. You have a good enough attitude to be able to show up consistently every single day, whether you're on the doorstep, at the kitchen table, at the office, wherever you're at. Can you show up, right? Attitude. I look for that in every single person that I recruit. Like, do you have a good attitude? And you can spot that almost immediately, right?
100%.
Is this person exuberating the type of energy that I want to be around? Because if I don't want to be around you, you better bet your ass no customer wants to be around you.
Yep.
Right. Aptitude. Do you have the natural ability to sell? Can you connect with me on a very quick basis? The bartender, the waiter, the kiosk person who's at the mall. Like you get these people who just kind of capture your mind really quickly. And you're like, whoa, that was nice.
Mm-hmm.
I connected with you. That was
Mhm.
awesome. Right. It could be on a train station, it could be on a bus, could be on a plane, wherever it may be. I've recruited people everywhere. Right. But it's because I'm looking for that natural aptitude. Like, do
Can
these,
that be learned,
Mm.
in your opinion?
Oh man, that goes back to the question: are you born a salesman or are you made a salesman? I think there are certain things that can be learned and certain things that can't be learned. I think some of the most successful people in this industry are introverted people that have learned a skill set and went to and duplicated that skill set over and over and over again and found their success through that. So I do believe to a certain extent it can be learned, but some things are just natural and easier coming to others than
For
most.
sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Sorry.
So you're good. Aptitude and then work ethic. I tell this to people all the time. Look, I can see that you have a great attitude. I can see that you have the aptitude, natural ability to do this job. I don't know how hard you're going to work, right? I look for athletes and cowboys. Athletes, guys that just don't know how to lose, gals that just don't know how to lose, and cowboys, construction workers, people that work long, hard hours for a little bit of money, right?
Mhm.
That's how I really look at that. So attitude, aptitude, work ethic. If I break it down if I add two more to that for like the leadership perspective, empathy and perspective.
Mm.
Right? Perspective. Like, do you remember what it was like your first week on the job? Like, or are you training in front of a room speaking to these guys as if they've been in the industry for 10 years?
Yeah.
Most of the guys that we bring in, they're brand new. They don't know. They're scared. They just learned the pitch. They're going to go knock doors for the first time. For us to go knock doors, not a big deal. But can you put yourself in their position, in their shoes, to really feel what it feels like to get your butt kicked 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 days?
Why is that important as a leader to
Yeah,
you?
you have to be able to empathize with them. You have to be able to feel what these guys are feeling because look, you've made your success. You've made you're not worried about paying your bills at the end of the month. However, they are. You have to be able to go back into that. You can't just say, yeah, go knock more doors. You'll be fine, dude.
Mhm.
Like, are you working enough hours? You have to be able to relate with these people, have really good perspective and empathy for your people that are currently out there right now. Because if they don't feel that genuineness from you, they're gone.
Mhm.
They're gone. They're going to think like they start to disassociate themselves with you.
Yep.
Right. You start to be that guy that has been, that's worked all, that you used to have all the records, used to do this, and you don't know what it's like anymore.
Yep.
Right. You have to be able to relate to your people on a consistent basis. And that's why we travel to markets. That's why I still get on doors with people. That's why I still sit at kitchen tables. That's why I still love recruiting, because one, I re-recruit myself consistently. And
Mhm.
two, it reminds me of what it feels like to be back on the doors, working through stuff, knocking in the 100-degree heat, getting door slammed in my face.
Yeah.
And it keeps me fresh and of understanding, especially when I'm recruiting, of what this job really is.
Yeah. No, I love that. And then perspective, like why do you add perspective? If there's 5 things you think that it takes, why is perspective?
Yeah, yeah. You have to see things from every single level, right? Not just from the rep level, but from the VP level, from the executive level, from the company level, from the industry level. And you have to be able to put yourself in all different positions, whether it's a pricing change, a product change, a market change, a leader change. You have to be able to see, why are decisions being made the way they are? And can you be a 360-degree leader,
Mhm.
right? We talk about all the time, John C. Maxwell, 360-degree leader. Can you lead side to side, up and down? And if you can have good perspective, you can truly understand why people are leading you the way they are, or why you need to lead people the way that you're going, that you do.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's really important.
I love that. And I didn't learn that lesson until later in my career as well.
Mm.
And I think that is probably one of the missed things in our industry specifically. That's probably one of the most missed perspectives out there. A rep seeing things from a company point of view or an industry point of view. And the reason I think that's one of the most missed things is because there are countless times I sit down with people who are looking at getting in the industry. They want to do it. They want to go 5 years, and they're looking at every single thing wrong.
Yeah.
And they're looking at the things that are not going to go help them do what they say they want to do, but they think it will. And it's because they're looking at it from a very particular perspective without being willing to even venture into company. And then I also have the flip side. I have guys where they're like extremely willing to be like, oh, that actually makes a lot of sense. Huh. That company might actually end up being in trouble because of the initial reason that got me interested in the company. They've got this crazy aggressive pay scale for me. Where's that money coming from, and what's it going to do in 5 years? Like right now, it looks great, sounds awesome. It either A, isn't true, or B, is going to have a whiplash effect somewhere. Where is that going to be? And guys that look at it that way, I've been super blessed to work with a lot of guys that work with me and my partners and my reps that look at things that way, and that shows so much maturity.
Absolutely.
Being able to go approach things with a perspective of at different levels that you've never been in before takes insane maturity and it takes insane wisdom, in my opinion.
Sure. It's our job at times when we sit down with recruits, unpack their current beliefs, right? Unpack their current beliefs and give them perspective of again the industry and the company that we're currently in, because most people don't have that vantage point.
Yeah.
Right? Perspective is the same thing as vantage point. Can you see what they're seeing from the level that they're seeing it at? And can you receive it in the way that they're receiving it?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because it's like, maybe I can see what you're saying, but I don't agree with it. Or I don't believe it.
Yep.
I'd be open-minded enough to understand that their perspective is the way their perspective is. And this is why they are where they currently are.
Yeah. And again, going back to our industry being a parallel, I mean, dude, that's the same as any relationship you're ever going to have. If you can't go and remove yourself from where you're at, look at things from their point of view, you'll never be able to go and have as close to an unbiased approach to situations or
Absolutely.
an understanding. And,
Yeah.
and so much of making relationships work is communication and understanding.
100%. The other word that comes to my mind is myopic, right? Like if you don't have perspective, you'll just be myopic. You'll see things through one vantage point, and you won't be able to lead the vast amount of people that you bring into the organization. You'll be a one-trick pony, and you only be able to do one thing.
Yep. No, I love that. I think that's golden. So, I mean, dude, already amazing advice, and I want to be respectful of everyone's time. I know you got meetings and everything today. My last question for you, right? And the name of the podcast is Today's the Day. And when I started this podcast, I started it with the exact same studio that we still work with. So literally Zach called me, reached out. He's like, dude, we should probably, like, we were like conceptualizing starting a podcast. They were starting the studio. Fast forwarding, it's kind of hard to remember like the origin story of it because it's so, I mean, I didn't even think we'd be doing what we're doing this quick. I mean, season 2 is amazing. But when we were brainstorming ideas for the podcast, there was the term I always used in high school was Today's the Day. That was like, it was from a quote I saw in Casey Ball's office that kind of struck me in a really, really cool way. And what it means to me is today's the day. Yesterday already happened. Tomorrow might not happen. So today's the day. Like this is all you've got. You may as well go make it great. And that's one of the most important things as we're trying to figure out who we'd have on the podcast. It's people who kind of embody that idea, whether they realize it or not. And my question for you is, what does that mean to you? And also, how do you go and incorporate that, or how would you advise people to go and incorporate that in their life?
Jeez, I love that. I use it in a couple of different realms. I use it in personal life. I always say, you're already here. Let's get paid. Right? You're already here. It's already 5 o'clock in the morning. You already got 500 pounds on the bar. Let's get paid. Like it's already, the work's been done. You're here. You woke up, you drove here, you're there, you loaded the weight up. Now we're gonna get paid. You got about 45 seconds to get paid. Let's go make it happen. Really cash in on the opportunity that you're in, because all the hard work should have been done, right? Same thing when I look at the workforce, right? Like I remember I look at this, and there's been times where I'm looking at it. It's a Saturday morning. I'm out there. I'm on the doors. I'm like, why can't today be the day that I go break a record? Why can't today be the day that I go make $10,000, right? And you start to trick your mind. You really start to trick your mind. You give yourself these invisible borders of what you can really go do. And when I'm sitting in an office and I'm training, I tell people often, I'm like, hey, today, like if there's any day that you're going to give it your all, like give it everything you got, today's the day. Get out there today, go make it happen, go remove any invisible lid that you have over your head, and go reestablish what your norm is. Right? I think too many people oftentimes they get caught in this crux of doing the same thing consistently. Remember, discipline's a good thing, right? If I'm used to getting 2, I'll do 2 every day, right? What if you could do 5?
Yeah.
Right. So every now and then, those that are listening right now, like challenge yourself. Today's the day. If you're driving out to area right now, if you want to go set a record, you want to go be the company GOAT, and people look at it like this. Well, I'm already 50th in the company. I'm already 60th in the company. Next year, I'll do it next year. No. Make this statement today. Let people know today. Social media is a powerful platform. Go on your story right now. Let people know what you're going to go do. You're going to go lead the entire industry today. You're going to throw a 10 spot today, a 9 spot today, whatever it may be. I'm going to hit 200 doors today. Really go lift the limits off of yourself and take the governor off and go do everything that you possibly can. And that's how I look at it. Like truly unleashing the beast and giving yourself that opportunity. And today's the day could be every single day, right? Not everyone has that gas pedal that they can go every single day, but every now and then, when you're starting to feel that little bit, or you want to go push yourself in there, I think that resonates really well with me. Today's the day. Today's the day I'm going to go do something great. Yeah. Right. Today's the day I'm going to go make a big impact. Today's the day I'm going to go inspire others through my actions. Today's the day.
I love it, dude. It couldn't have been said better, and I love that. Kristian, once again, dude, thank you so much.
Honored.
Mr. Casey, I appreciate you. That was fire. That was amazing. And everybody that tuned in, thank you guys, and much love. Until next time. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. As always, it was a blast for me. I hope you got something out of this. If you got something out of this video, of value, share this with a friend, and please go show your love. We're on all streaming platforms, including YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. Any ratings, comments, likes, shares, they go a very long way, and they make it so I can keep doing these things for you, and I would appreciate it greatly. So please go share with a friend. Until next time.